back out. It's spring again. You might have seen the wildflowers in the footage, the beginning of the video. Sydney's been in lockdown for about 14 weeks and I'm in a local woodland looking for somewhere to stop overnight. You can hear the crows in the background. I'm just going to walk a bit further away from the road. Hopefully I'll be far enough away not to hear them all night. Okay, I've come through there, but this is particularly open. Maybe there's a path over there, I'm not sure. I'm just going to head back here a bit further. So I'm thinking if I move the branches from that area there, then that'll be enough for me to set up the little tent I've got, the one-man tent. There's a trail coming in through there, and by the scats you can see down there, that's wallabies. There's another trail over here. There's some more scats there. So I'm guessing wallabies are hiding in the bushes behind us, and in the evening they'll come out to the grasslands on the other side of the track that I just walked off. So I've just cleared a little bit of the branches and leaves away. That is about where I'm going to be setting up the tent. That'll be the footprint, that old poncho, just to go underneath it to protect it from any sticks and so forth that I've missed. I've checked it out and it's pretty flat there. See, I've brought a fairly small backpack. It's about a 35 litre, it says it's 35. I think that's a bit optimistic. I've come a bit light. I'm camping in an urban woodland. I didn't want to be noticed carrying a big backpack. I usually go camping in the Blue Mountains, take a bigger backpack, a bit more gear. There are designated campsites there and no one really worries about what you're doing. Anyway, I'll just run through what I brought with me. I'll just lay it out on the poncho. Okay, here's a quick run through of what I've brought with me. This is my Gear Top Pyramid 2 trekking tent, a copy of a Nature Hike air mat, Aegis Max down sleeping bag, bag liner, an SOL escape bivvy, and a Nature Hike pillow with some hot chocolate, coffee, some biscuits. I think there's a chai latte in there as well. Some odds and ends, lights, some cord, a few other bits and pieces, rubber bands, my fuel tablet stove and a couple of hexi blocks, cooking pot. There is a folding cup inside it and a knife and a folding knife, fork and spoon. I brought another poncho, battery charger, charging cable, dinner. It's just going to be a chicken sandwich. And I brought a hoodie, tracksuit pants and another shirt. It's quite warm now, but it will get cool later in the evening. You can see the backpack I bought. It's a 35 litre. I think I said before it's a very optimistic 35. I managed to get all of that in there, but it was a bit of packing and repacking. I brought it mainly because I just didn't want to stand out. I'm urban stealth camping for the first time and I just wanted to go unnoticed. Well, here you can see my setup for tonight. This is a gear top single trekking pole tent. It's not what I'd call a tent for wild camping. It's more a trekking tent, very lightweight, very small, very comfortable, I've got to admit that. It should be good enough for an overnighter. I can show you my gear. I've travelled a bit lighter than normal. Okay, usually I bring a self-inflating mat. I've got the SOL escape bivvy down on the ground. There's a poncho underneath. This cheap old blue poncho, there's a few holes in it just to give it a little bit extra protection. The escape bivvy, hopefully that'll also keep me warm if it gets cold. I've got this very thin copy of a Nature Hike sleeping pad, very minimal, and the Aegis Max sleeping bag, which is just lofting up. Still got to inflate the pillow. I'm going to move the backpack up here down to the foot of the tent, and I'll move everything up just that little bit more because there's not a lot of room at the foot of the tent, and it'll just give me a little bit more space if I put the bag down there rather than at the head where it widens up a bit. So you can see it widens up at this point, so I'll move everything further up here when I settle in for the night. So that's pretty much my setup. Okay, it's about 6:30 now. I'm in the tent, not because it's dark or anything as you can see outside, but because there are mozzies. Make a hot chocolate later on. Brave the mosquitoes, but I'm not 100% certain I'll do that. I just listen to some music after the sun goes down. At the moment I'm listening to the evening chorus. It's quite beautiful. And watching the mosquitoes on the net, which I don't think this camera will pick up. But, they're out there in their tens, dozens. You can also hear a blowfly. Maybe a kookaburra in the background. It's probably the last hurrah for the day. It'll get quiet very shortly. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now, and I might catch you in the morning unless something really exciting happens. Right, well, as you can see, I've packed down everything, or just about everything. So the bag for the tent and the pegs. It's always a relief to get the sleeping bag and the air mat and so forth back into the bags that they came in. And I'm getting there. I'll just pack up the tent and then I'll make myself a cup of coffee. Well, I've packed everything away. I've managed to get everything back in the backpack. It's a little bit bulkier than what I remember it on the way in. I'm making myself a cup of coffee. I'm just going to have a coffee and 2 biscuits for breakfast. Very light meal. It was a good experiment. This is the first time I've done anything like this. I'm not completely sure I'll do it again. this place that I've picked. I've told you there's farmlands to the north behind me. There's a residential estate growing and moving towards me, so this area is shrinking. The dawn chorus was absolutely beautiful. You might still be able to hear some of the birds around me, but at dawn it was just magnificent. But last night I was quite anxious for a while, I've got to admit. The farmlets to the north, farmers love dogs, and I could hear barking all the time. I suspect also that there is a pet hotel, place that looks after dogs and cats when people are on holidays, and they must have thousands of dogs there, because they would start up and there was howling for half an hour at a time, dozens of dogs. So I had in my mind that the park was full of wild dogs, and I was just terrified of being found by this pack of wild dogs. Also suspect that there's some sort of wild animal that's not native to Australia here. I guess it's probably a peacock. I can remember hearing peacocks, when they're disturbed, they make a quite horrible noise. It sounded like someone's being strangled. And I heard this noise last night because we're also near a road, and there must have been a couple of guys doing some street racing, and you could hear cars revving up and screeching of tyres. And at one time this bird must have got spooked, and it made a terrible racket, and it was running towards me through the bushes here on my right, and it stopped, and it was squawking and squealing and shrieking, and I was absolutely terrified. It really got the adrenaline pumping. This was about 9 o'clock at night. I managed to calm down. It started to rain at 10. I had to zip up the tent, which was good. I mean, I haven't taken the tent out in the rain. It wasn't a heavy rain, but it rained nonetheless, and the tent held up. It is a small tent, and it got cold overnight. I was in a sleeping bag. The Aegis Max sleeping bag's rated down to about 11 degrees, and I think I was pretty much on 11, 12. Yesterday they were saying it was going to get down to a minimum of 12 overnight, and I could feel it in the early hours in the morning when I woke up at about 3 o'clock, and it was cold then. I managed to doze off again and wake up during the dawn chorus, and it was beautiful. But anyway, it's been an interesting experience. This anxiety about being caught. I don't think I'll be happy until I'm actually out of this bushland. And the next time you see me, I might be up in the mountains. I might do a short walk there one day. Just to be here, to be surrounded by nature, and especially since I've got up, it's been absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I might see you on the next one. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, that's where I stayed last night. My tent was pitched right there. You can see I've messed it up a little bit, make it look a bit more natural. And now I'm going to go off in that direction and head for home. Anyway, it's a beautiful morning.